7-0.
Thank you all for your time.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Next up, we have Christy Scott, LMHC.
Steve, 1 second here.
Yeah.
The lights on.
Recording and transcription. Christy, just for transparency, you and I have worked at the same organization. I don't know you. I don't think I've ever met you. I don't recognize your name. So I feel confident that I can offer a non-biased opinion in this case, or previously non-biased, okay? So you are coming before us today because you'd like to, because we had a question about your LMHC application. And is this a renewal or is this a new
This
application?
is the new application, but it happened, I submitted it shortly after I did the renewal program. So
Okay.
I think that was kind of grouped into.
The question that we have, my understanding, is that it appears to us that we have a letter from Community Health Network that tells us that you were employed from this date to this date and what your full-time title was. But it also says letter of termination. And so we're trying to understand essentially, were you fired or did you leave work and it's what happened?
Yeah, I just left, I put in a 2-week notice and the letter of termination, I figured that was probably a problem.
Right.
But I could not, there's been a lot of changes at the community, specifically within like the program that I was in. My direct supervisor's not there anymore, the program director's not there anymore. So it was really difficult to get anybody to sign like the actual like application sheet.
Yeah,
And so I had talked to the new program director at Hillsdale. And they sent me to HR basically just drafted that for me to submit. So they would sign this direct. That was the only thing that I did from them to say I, this date to this date to verify my employment there, but I was not fired.
I can confirm for the board's information that a letter of termination from Community Health Network during this time didn't necessarily mean that someone was fired, it just meant that. That was, I got that information from our Human Resources Department, so we'll take that under consideration, because the question became, if someone was fired, you have to say that on your application. You left to do what? Take another position?
Yeah, I worked at the child now. I was moving to Greenwood, so it makes sense to me to drive into the community, so the different position that child sounds like.
Was there any concern on community's parts that you gave 2 weeks versus perhaps customarily 4 weeks?
No, I did intakes at community, so I didn't have any caseload, leaving, then. Yeah, the process. for the intakes.
Is your understanding that you left on good terms and you would be rehireable, for example? Okay. Does the board staff have any extra concerns that we need to address?
You're okay with the documentation?
Does the board have any questions? I'll move that we approve Scott's LMC application. Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Congrats.
Sorry, you left.
Next up, we have Veronica Velez, LMHCA. Hello. Thanks for coming in today.
Sorry.
Yeah, you've been here for a minute.
I'll say good morning.
Veronica, I'm Kimball. This is Martin. We represent the mental health counselor section. You are here before us today because you had what we call a yes or a positive response on your LMHCA application. And we wanted to ask you some questions about that. In addition, we had some adjustments that we want to make to your clinical documentation for your program. And I will submit to our board staff the two course content areas that I'd like to make some adjustments to on your behalf. So the way that you filled out what courses covered certain areas, the courses that you listed won't work, but I found other courses that would. So the first one being contextual dimensions. Let's use course CN 610 for that. And then for knowledge and skills, we'll use course CN 612. And then so the other issue then is, did you answer yes? No. She did not. That's the issue. Yeah. You had I mean, it ended up that you had
Yes.
a record essentially, but you didn't say that you had a record.
Correct.
Okay, so we could see and we understand from the court documents and from your personal letter what happened. And I think the board is understanding of some of those things in your background. What was the reason why you didn't answer yes?
I thought about it and I got my expungement back in 2019 and I filled out a lot of job applications, schooling applications. And the expungement allowed me or gave me direction to answer no.
Okay, so your charges have been expunged?
Correct, yes. In 2019.
I'm sorry, ma'am, what'd you say?
You didn't provide that information. That's expunged, yeah.
I will also say, I've thought about that application of, like you said, you were gonna substitute some classes. Hindsight, I could have gotten some help, some advice on how to navigate that application process, and I did not. And, for that, yeah, I hold myself completely accountable and, fully apologize. Because I'm sure it does appear, deceitful, misleading, dishonest.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
I think actually it's the way, if it's expunged, what you should have done, say yes. That you had a background and just say it's been expunged
Yes, yes.
and provide you have documentation that says that.
Yeah, when I got feedback from the PLA and I just started
Yeah.
researching, which I should have
Which is
done
fine.
before I did the application. I kicked myself, I've done nothing but worry about it ever since. Because I'm 14 years in the making of trying to get here, right here where I'm at right now. There's really no excuse, just an explanation is all.
And I apologize if I didn't see it. Do we have expungement paperwork from you?
I did not submit the order. I think I only mentioned it in my letter, but again, the letter I submitted is hazy. I haven't gone back through it.
Okay. Well, you know, we do want to recognize you've done a lot of hard, difficult work
Of course,
to get here. We appreciate that you lifted yourself up and you wanted to become a professional person in this field, which we appreciate. We do have to see certain paperwork though, in order to, because that really is the, we're gonna hang our hat on If you have the expungement paperwork,
Yes,
then you're good to go. If you don't, then we have to perhaps proceed another way. Because, like you said, you want it to be honest and accurate. So would the board feel comfortable if there was a motion that we accepted her LMHCA application pending receipt and acceptance of her expungement paperwork?
Do we need that to,
Well, we don't, if you're okay with the court document she's already given, we don't really need the expungement unless you absolutely wish to see it.
Well, then we're left with, she didn't answer yes.
we could still, she explained it.
She explained it because she said it was expunged.
And she did give us some, in the court documents that she could for each one, so.
It was expunged.
No, well, there is something here that says you can't find it.
I see.
I think in other cases, expunge or not, we could accept the explanation for the positive response, even though she said no. We can do that same thing today.
Okay,
If you still would like to see the expungement order, for her application, we can have her submit that.
or it would be helpful to have it. Be helpful to have it if you have it.
yes, yeah. Not with me, of course, but yes.
And I can review that in-house if you just want to upload it. I've done that before. Unless you want to see it, Kimball.
Well, I guess I'm just struggling just a teeny bit. I hear what you're saying, Stephanie. She's saying I struggled, I think what you're saying is, I struggled because it's expunged, but I didn't really know how to answer it. The question.
Yeah.
That's not what you're saying.
No, I didn't struggle with how to answer it at all. I answered it in the way that, I was instructed to answer that type of question, when I went through the expungement process.
I see.
I did not, hindsight, I did not know that the PLA was the exception to that. So since 2019, in various jobs and applications for schooling, practicum, internship, and all those things, I answered no, because that is the way I was instructed when I went through the expungement process.
And that sounds correct to me. Well, what we don't have is that paperwork to verify.
Yes.
Okay. It sounds like the board would feel better, more comfortable just approving.
Mhm.
Period. All right. So make a motion to approve Ms. Velez's LMHCA application.
So, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Congratulations.
And I'll send you information on testing for the NCE this week.
And then when you apply for your clinical license, you can answer yes, but say, I've already addressed this with the board in your affidavit, because it's already in the file.
I get a sense from your reaction that, this has been a journey for you.
Yeah.
And in reading your letter, it's very clear that, it's been a journey. And so I want to honor that journey and I appreciate you, wanting to be in a profession, that can help other people, who are struggling in a difficult place. So thank you for staying in the fight and moving forward, and thank you for coming in today.
Thank you so much to all of you. I've got 5 adult children waiting to hear from me.
Good.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Good night.
Next up, we have Elizabeth Wagoner, LMHC. Hello.
Elizabeth, obviously Kimball, Martin. You You have applied to become a licensed mental health counselor.
Mhm.
Your post-degree work and supervision hours are okay, in my opinion. So now we have to, now really is just to discuss the positive
Yes.
response. Okay. It appears to me that you had an arrest in 2018. And this was on your associate license renewal? no?
I think that I missed the question on the renewals.
Okay,
So when I applied for my LMHC, I disclosed all that, and then I thought I had disclosed it in my previous renewals. I requested information from Dana, and she provided that for me, and I looked over it, and I did say no, and I did not need to do that. Either I didn't mean to do that, and I looked at the question, and I confused my, my arrest for something, a traffic violation, which looking back, I'm embarrassed to admit that, obviously not. But I think I took that question literally and therefore thought it was a no.
you were discharged from your probation in 2019. Does that sound right to you?
Yes,
And you've not had any charges or issues since then? You disclosed this on your LMHC application, not on the earlier one because you misunderstood. the
yes,
question.
yeah. That's the only thing that I can think of, because I don't know why I would. And I'm not somebody that likes to lie or misinform people or anything like that.
Are you currently working?
I am not, because my license, my LMHCA license expired on April 1st. Then, my LMHC, I think I got it April 5th or 9th or something like that. So I'm currently not working, but I am going back to work supposedly soon.
You're waiting to take the exam?
I am ready to take the exam.
That's what. Does the board have any questions for Elizabeth? I'll make
A technical question, should she be allowed to renew her license while he's working on this test thing or not? Is that,
Give me one moment.
okay?
or she could get the
She's
town,
Yes,
Well,
that
that's
temporary,
That will be, yeah.
LMHC.
the temporary LMHC.
That's it. Her temporary mental health counselor was approved by staff. But if she wanted to, if that expires and she does not pass the clinical exam, the question is, would she want to be granted another associate license renewal since you've met the cap for the renewal?
If that is possible, that's great.
Another consideration if you wanted to grant her the allowance to renew the associate for an additional assignment.
Yeah, preference.
I have been studying for this exam with all my time off, so I feel like I'm gonna be okay to take it.
You're gonna slam
I'm sorry?
it. You're going to slam it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Right.
I hope so.
We have two options, which is amazing. Normally, we don't have that available to us, so you can potentially be approved, get another LMHCA license, or we could approve you to get to take the LMHC exam.
Okay.
You could have a temporary permit. You have a sense of what you'd like to do.
I think I'm ready to start sitting for the exam.
You would prefer us to approve you for your LMHC?
Exam, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't taken that yet. So as far as I understand, I currently have a temporary LMHC, while I sit on it for the exam.
Yeah, that's staff has approved that
Okay.
already.
Already approved.
So, okay, does anybody have any? We'll move to approve you for your Second.
All those in favor?
I am so sorry. For your LMHC. I meant to say LMHC. Either one is okay.
Yeah.
But you would prefer the second.
Yeah.
LMHC.
Again.
I'm just saying that. LMHC.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
We're gonna just roll back to see, anybody we missed under applications. Amber Outman, LACA. Amber Outman. Danielle Boynton, come on up. And this is for the LCACA application. Thanks for coming in today.
I didn't know, not in the audience would be a different, section. So we have the application, for the LCACA. And you also have a, mental health counselor temp. So your LMHCA temp expired February 25th of this year.
Correct.
Do you have the, I don't think you have the LMHCA.
Correct.
Okay. What are you doing currently? I think you're at Parkview Hospital, is that correct?
No.
So that's why you're here. Let's talk about what you're doing.
Correct. So I have two jobs. I'm currently at Avondale, Behavioral, and YWCA. At Avondale, I don't have a caseload, I don't work with treatment plan. It's more like crisis intervention, de-escalation type stuff.
So is that a residential setting?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a 30-day like detox. There's a couple of different entities with Avondale.
So what does that look like when you talk about crisis? Is it just individuals that are in the detox unit?
Yeah, so we hold up to about 17 patients, and I'm kind of there just to make sure everything goes smoothly. And if needed, I give some direction, but nothing.
What direction? Like you need to take it forward.
So if we have a client who's about to elope,
Mhm.
just the escalation strategies.
Try to talk us off the ledge kind of thing.
Yep.
And then, so that's the one job. is
Yeah.
So what's, you didn't do anything other than that? You are there just to monitor?
Pretty much, and then also I'd like to add, if we do have somebody come into, like checking in, I'm able to do like some suicide assessments and a safety plan.
So the other jobs at the YW,
Yes.
what do you do there?
So far, since I don't have my license, they have me doing a lot of data entry. So, and, they also send me to trainings, like I just finished craft. I don't know if you know, yeah, can you craft? Yep, so just completed that training. So yeah.
What do they want you to do with that training?
I think they want to start, since the Y has like recovery services, they want me to start working with the families of the individuals who stay there, to get them on board with working with seniors and addictions.
Maybe what's your license?
Pretty,
So data entry, you're not really interacting with the clients there
not until.
until that's done. So going back to the detox unit, you mentioned suicide assessments. Do you use a tool for that or what? How does that work?
I don't believe it's a tool, it's something that's already like in the electronic monitoring or EMR. It's just pretty much if they've had thoughts, I go through some risk factors, protective factors, and then the safety plan, and then that's all reviewed by somebody licensed.
So what do you do with that information?
Put it in the system and staff with the licensed therapist. Because I work weekends, so nobody wants that shit.
Okay. So, but if it's a positive response, what do you do with that information on the weekend?
So we have like crisis intervention, we have a team, so like kind of like security, just in case. So if it goes higher than what it needs to be, I'm going to contact CIT, get all those people involved, get people who need higher care, where they need to go.
And if not, they usually come in the facility and we kind of do a line of sight observation, things like that. Is what I'm allowed to staff with the clinic supervisor leadership tells me, so the team.
So what does your employer, what instructions does your employer give you as to when the answers trigger communicating that to the crisis team? And how do you know when to do that?
So anytime there's a safety risk, so with other individuals, other patients, that will let me know. There are other, like, you have nursing staff, you have our techs, we all have our own little piece in this puzzle. So we all discuss what's happening. We go to leadership kind of trickles down, and then that's how we disperse.
When you're filling out this tool, the electronic record, how do you know if the answers are?
The score, so like 0 to 4, I believe is low, moderate risk, and then moderate.
Because the computer gives you a score, and what are your instructions on, let's say somebody got an 8, what are you supposed to do?
Contact, all of them are typically contact leadership, and then they contact the psychiatrist on the team for like when it's high imminent risk. And then that's when CIT is called, and that's when.
And then safety planning, is that in your electronic record, or do you get separate? So is it like a template?
Yeah, it's real, free coping skills, safe places, real basic.
And you've been doing that since the beginning of March? Is that fair?
Yeah, April of last year, yes.
Oh, so that job you've been doing for a year,
Yes,
and then the YW is new?
yes,
Okay,
correct,
since March.
correct.
So everything else on your application was good. The question is whether or not you've been, working without a license since your temp expired at the end of February. So I welcome any comments from my colleagues.
I think the screening, we could argue that even I don't know if you're using the Columbia Suicide Severity Rating Scale or something like that. Some first responders are using it in the field to do. And you elevate it to a clinical person when necessary. But if you're talking about a safety plan or other things, sometimes that could.
But there's,
Again, crisis specialists do it every day on the day, and they're not like.
there's no clinical decisions. That's why I asked this question.
Yeah.
But I am okay with proceeding with the board.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion then that we approve Danielle's, LCACA. She is, I don't think she's taken the test. So we approve her to test.
A second.
Now, hold on a minute, she didn't have a temporary LCACA, did she?
She did apply for one, so once I approve her to test, I can issue the temporary.
Good. Okay, sorry. Somebody was gonna second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Congratulations.
You're all set.
You're set. Keep doing good work. Next up, we have Marilyn Dodd, LCAC. Welcome.
Hi, Marilyn. I'm Katie Adams with the addictions, section. So we have your application for the LCAC. Do you currently have a license?
No, I do not.
Okay, that's what I thought. So you're here today because we want to talk about what type of work you've been doing. It looks like you've been a treatment counselor at the YWCA for the last 12 years. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so tell me about, for the past 12 years, what does the day look like for you at the YW?
I facilitate a therapeutic addiction counseling group. I present letters to DCS workers, probation officers, or anyone that needs to know how the client is doing, in our program. I give the clients, that support they need. We do our NAAA meetings. I keep track that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing in there. And just being that support there for them. I do, just giving them psychoeducational information on whatever they're going through. I have to, keep case notes, and document their, time in groups, and not only in my group, but other groups that they have to attend.
So, the groups that you lead, tell me about what content that involves.
A variety. I meet the client where they're at. Sometimes they come in and they have, domestic violence, issues. I process that with them. We may talk about, grief and loss. We definitely go over triggers and coping skills. I even do some type of therapeutic art work with them just to show them different things that they can do, help them with those things. So it all depends on what they come in with. I gather up, information, psychoeducational information and present it to the clients.
Okay, so you may have heard from some of the other conversations in here, our concern is that you're engaging in unlicensed practice. And based on your description, you're using the word therapeutic a lot. You're doing a lot of processing the issues that individuals have, in the group setting, which to me is clinical work. So you cannot do that without a license.
If I may say, I do work under a license.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
You have to have a license to practice in India. So what you've applied for, I'm glad you applied, for the LCAC. However, what you would need to apply for is the associate's license
Yeah.
because you don't have supervised clinical experience. So the supervised clinical experience means that you are licensed while you're getting that supervision. And right now you're not licensed. So we would need to convert your, application to the LCACA. Take the test. And once you're done with the test, you get your two years of clinical hours under the supervision of a licensed clinical person, whether that's an LCS starting or an LCAC, whatever that might be.
Okay, so, just so that I can be clear, the licensed person that I am under now is not qualifying until I receive my associate. Is that okay?
What license does your current supervisor have?
And she's here today, and she's a licensed clinical social worker, and she's also a licensed, LACA.
Okay. Perfect. So the LCSW works great for the supervision that you need, but you have to get your license first.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah, in order to be under her supervision, I must have my associate license first.
Are we allowed to take questions from the galley?
Is this your
It's really
supervisor?
the supervisor.
Oh, you're the supervisor.
Sure, it's really a.
Sorry, I didn't know who you were.
So in our, sorry, my flow.
What's your name?
LCAC, Orange Rivers.
Hi.
Okay, so, in one of the codes or whatever that we were apparently falsely thinking that everything was fine, was this one, I don't know if I can hand it to anybody, but it said that there is the exception that if it's a substance abuse facility certified by the Division of Mental Health and Addiction as an addiction services regular agency, which is what we are. She does not profess to be a licensed addiction therapist. She does not profess to be a licensed addiction counselor.
Do you provide medication assisted treatment?
We do not in our facility, we refer out.
What is your title?
Huh? Oh,
I am a dual treatment counselor.
I mean, part of the issue as well is that we have title protection for, social workers, counselors, therapists. And, you know, in your explanation of what you do, and the materials, you know, on your application, it seems you're working outside your scope.
so is this code not valid? Because this is what we've been
What's the code?
doing. I have to grab it to you.
I think 25-23.6/10.1-2, is that what it is?
25-23.6-10.1-3.
-3.
So we have exempted, Met providers.
But that's not what, but that's not what they are.
But we are the number 3 on that list.
What is that?
A substance use facility certified by the Division of Mental Health and Addiction as an addiction services regular agency.
So that is,
And where is that being read from?
This code 25.
Plus the code.
25-23.6-10.1-3.
Can you do that one more time?
Sure, 25-23.6-10.1-3.
Let me read it all.
Give it back to me.
It's a person who is not licensed under this article may provide or ensure provision of addiction counseling services to a health facility licensed under 16.8, a hospital licensed under 16.1 or IC 12.5, substance abuse facility certified by the Division of Mental Health and Addiction as an addiction services regular agency.
That's what she claims she is.
If the person has met all of the requirements established by a credentialing agency approved by the Department of Mental Health and Addiction, and the person does not profess to be a licensed addiction therapist or a licensed addiction counselor in this article.
It doesn't make any
It
sense.
doesn't,
It's like, you can't call yourself this, but you can do the work.
it also doesn't resolve the question of, okay, if that is accepted, can you claim as hours?
Mm-hmm.
Does it say anything about claiming hours toward?
Well, that seems clear to us. That's not somebody else. She's not disagreeing.
I mean, this is one of those cases similar to what we had discussed earlier about Medicaid, perhaps exemptions. Which do we go by? The Indiana licensing code or? It says, this law allows unlicensed individuals to work in the
It just says,
facility.
and it doesn't say what they're doing.
Right.
The title of this is actually prohibited locations to provide services by individuals who are not licensed.
Right.
In Section 3, the person who's not licensed may provide or ensure the provision in this if they've met all requirements established by a credentialing agency approved by.
And I believe, so what was the job title again?
Dual treatment.
A dual treatment also,
Dual treatment.
addressing, chemical dependency and domestic violence.
Domestic violence is a addiction, so that's a touchy spot for that is. I'm losing the kids in my culture.
So the other piece you have to consider is 2523.6, 10.1-1, which is your title protection statute. An individual may not profess to be a licensed addiction counselor, licensed clinical addiction counselor, use the title licensed addiction counselor, licensed clinical addiction counselor, licensed clinical addiction therapist, licensed addiction therapist, addiction counselor, addiction therapist, clinical addiction counselor, clinical addiction therapist, substance abuse counselor, substance abuse therapist, clinical substance abuse counselor, clinical substance abuse therapist, or use any other title containing the words licensed addiction counselor, licensed addiction therapist, licensed clinical addiction counselor, licensed clinical addiction therapist, addiction counselor, addiction therapist. Read off the rest of them if you need, but
I mean, she's,
So this is dual treatment counselor. So what does that mean to you if you're a dual treatment counselor?
That means that, when women come in with domestic violence or any type of, physical abuse, I can engage with them.
So what I am hearing is that this is just addiction treatment that she's doing. She's doing DB work, which would not be in the scope of that.
It does seem
sounds
like,
more like mental health.
well, dual diagnosis usually means like substance abuse and mental health issues that we're working on. And this is carved out to just be substance abuse only. Yeah. That's right.
So is this saying that you can provide the services, but not necessarily saying the title?
Correct.
Yes, addiction service.
and that's where we have, we want to understand which statute we're supposed to go by.
Well, but this that they're referencing has to do with where she works. And she works at the YW, who, you have programs for people with domestic violence
Absolutely,
and both.
yes.
And do all.
And over the course of many years of seeing that this population needed this and this population needed this, so we created dual treatment to meet the needs of our clients. And yes, dual treatment is normally mental health and addiction, but not for us, for domestic violence.
So I don't think it's a problem to approve her application for the LCACA and well, to have her test. The question is just whether or not we consider this unlicensed practice. To me, it's clear she's doing process groups. Some of the topics she mentioned, included things that sometimes go along with addiction, but not necessarily. YWCA is known to be domestic violence provider, as well as a substance use provider. I appreciate you bringing in the code, so you're gonna get quite a lively discussion now to have. So thank you for that.
It doesn't really, and maybe this is, we'll take this off the table for another time. It doesn't really resolve, in my mind, the issue of
It does not.
which code do we go by?
Right.
But, good.
I think the struggle for me is that this is a code related to locations to provide service. So when I read this, it's more about the location or the institution as opposed to the licensure requirements of an individual. Does that make sense? Trying to say?
It does,
I mean-
that's really confusing.
Yeah,
It does, except These statutes aren't really in conflict. What you have is a general licensing statute, and you have narrow exceptions to the licensing statute. The question is whether this individual's practice falls under an exemption. And you have a code saying when they practice in a certain area, they are, but nonetheless, there's other things they still can't do. Still can't claim the title or hold themselves out to have the title, or really for the purposes of the statute, that someone from the public is not receiving services from someone that they would think or believe be licensed when they're not.
So it isn't just about the title, it's also about what they're receiving.
That's primarily a title issue, right? Like, is a member of the public on notice that this person is not licensed? That's why there's the language in here about, like, not only can you use these titles, but you also can't use anything that makes it sound like you are licensed.
Like the word gosh, sorry. I think this one is actually-
Does this sound similar enough to another case we saw today where could approve her on probation perhaps, and think that she's,
That's what I'm learning, but I'm interested in what.
that would be my thought too.
It's a good answer, lots of much back and forth, and go.
I think you could, you have some discretion in how you want to deal with this case. Probably differs a little bit in the fact that the supervisor is actually here and has testified to some of the questions about this arrangement. None of that makes the arrangement itself kind of more kosher, but.
And I do believe from what I've heard, everybody's acting in good faith because it's clear they have done their research and found statute that, supports their interpretation.
It's confusing.
Well, it would obviously seem clear that messages that you have a degree, you have to get a license before you do the work. This is how to make it work. I agree, I feel like this has been in good faith, and it's with their understanding of what it was, not to try to work around it, but to follow it.
You've been in the same roles for 12 years, or have you done different things across the 12 years?
Can you repeat that, please?
Have you done the same activities at the Y for 12 years, or have you done different things over the years?
I have been in this position for 12 years.
Okay, so you've been doing the same work.
Yes.
Thank you for your service. You're
That'll
gonna
be
find
13 years in August.
I'm sure you're very good. So how do we feel about that probation from Walter? That's to you guys. I'm a little squeamish since there is this thing that they found. But I think it all goes back to the clinical work. doesn't it?
I mean, I think you should give way to the fact that the supervisor is here today. A lot of your driving force behind doing probation for this was to ensure that an arrangement moving forward was appropriate, and that there was conversations happening between the licensee and the employer. They've both come here today and participated in that. And not only that, but they came in here hoping for a clinical level license, leaving with that vested associate where she's going to have to continue under supervision for a couple of years before you can get what you wanted.
Did you apply for a temp?
No.
The result is, yeah.
I mean, based on that, I probably would be okay with that now. I wasn't until our council.
Yeah, council,
Council earned his.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you understand, maybe both of you guys understand our concerns. So I'm gonna, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
And thank you for providing that extra information, and thank you for your work that you do. I'm gonna make a motion to, change her application to the LCACA to allow her to sit for the exam, and start blocking hours towards, of her supervision towards the clinical license.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Congratulations.
And encourage you to apply for the temporary. Do that manual here or online.
And then you don't have to worry about this.
You'll have
the
Your
temporary.
temporary firm will allow you while you're sitting for the exam.
Legal counsel, thank you for, saying what you said. Everybody else too.
Thank you.
So board, it is 1:04. We've gotten through all the applications. We have 20 renewals to go through. I assume we want to break for lunch.
Cafeteria closes in 30.
Cafeteria closes in 26 minutes. How long do we want to break for? 26 minutes?
20 minutes?
26 minutes?
Okay.
15, 26.
So we will try to reconvene around 1:30, 1:35. Thank you.
No, I found the email, like, she wasn't waiting.
I thought.
But Billy, she can't.
Which end of it's me? I mean, if it's not free.
You ready? Okay. We'll be moving into renewals and starting out with Jessica Smith, LMHCA.
The first four for renewal, that associate license.
Okay.
And I did have to add an additional renewal appearance onto the agenda.
Okay.
What kind of license is that?
Addiction.
Awesome. Thanks for coming today.
Hi, Jessica. I'm Kimball Richardson, Art and Justice. We represent the mental health counselor section of the board. You are here because you have requested another renewal on your LMHCA license.
Correct.
Normally, those have a limit of renewals on them. You have shared with us an explanation about why you wanted to, what prevented you from completing all your hours. And so thank you for that information. Can you tell us when you think you're gonna take the exam?
If I got the renewal, it would be within that period. I would like to take it as soon as possible. I just don't, it depends on if I start it.
What do you mean if you haven't started with it?
Like if the renewal isn't granted.
Oh, I see. So, okay, what, are you working in the field now or?
Yeah, so I work at the villages of Indiana, doing foster care, adoption services, stuff like that. Since April 1st, I've been sort of loaned out, instead of doing therapy, I'm doing, family preservation services, so seeking safety mostly, and skills. And then I'm also helping with case management services. They hire case manager.
So you have an interest in, your organization has an interest in getting licensed. And you have a plan, so I'm saying this for you to hear and for everyone else in the audience that might be a mental health counselor with their LMHCA. The idea was that this would be an opportunity for people to have supervision and get some experience prior to sitting for their full clinical license. It wasn't ever intended to be a stopping point. You're saying it just took you a little longer because of a few things in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody have any questions of Jessica? Do you have any questions for us? Or we? I'll move that we allow Jessica Smith to renew her LMHCA license again. So,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
okay, now what for Jessica?
I have to submit a ticket to our IT department to allow you to be able to log online and renew. So you should be hopefully getting it this week, if they manage to get through it within as quick as I anticipate.
Okay, do I get an email that's available?
Yeah, I'll send an email to everybody impacted once it's made available.
Okay. Thank you.
Congratulations, good luck.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Lisa Smith, LMHCA. And this is the fifth.
Yes.
Oh, it's got it. Oh, okay.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
You want to become licensed as a mental health counselor, but you need to pass the exam, right?
Right.
And you said you had been an LMHCA since 2017.
Yep.
And what has prevented you from moving forward, do you think?
Life.
That's a big
Raising-
answer. That's what we call expansive.
Raising a special needs son. My husband had some health issues. Like,
Where did you go to school?
Purdue.
Okay, so you've been aware, because I know the programs, primarily around Indiana. You've been well taught, I think, about the licensure requirements.
Yes.
And so you probably have some idea that you couldn't just live in the LMHCA space forever.
No,
You didn't know that.
I did for a while, and now it's come to an end.
Uh-huh. Says you were never made aware of a rule prohibiting the number of renewals allowed. Well, just so, yeah, you had, right? So we want you to move forward,
I have,
move forward to your full clinical license.
an application for a temporary license and a renewal and anything I can do to get back to work and using that.
I don't, I mean, for clarification, would she qualify, would she be allowed to? She doesn't get a temporary permit again, does she?
She could, and she has applied for a temporary mental health counselor permit because she has applied for her mental health counselor license application.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
But it hasn't been reviewed yet.
Her hours have been reviewed, but we're doing a bit of back and forth regarding the timeframes. So I have some of the documentation. If you want to see it, I can send it to you after the meeting to look it over if you're okay with it for approval if you want to.
Okay. Could we say approval pending? Or should I look at it?
She's only here today to request an additional.
Oh, let me see it.
And so that's the only really matter that we probably need to address here.
I'll move that we allow Ms. Smith an opportunity to renew her LMHCA.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
And then it looks like you have applied for your LMHC and there are some issues that we're trying to work out. So we'll take a look at that and see what needs to happen.
And then when can I start filling up my schedule?
I'll have to, as I said previously, I have to submit a ticket to allow you to renew. So either once the associate license is renewed or your temporary permit has been issued, that's when you can renew more.
Okay, so a few days.
Sometime this week is my best estimate. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Eric Stovey, LMHCA. Thanks for coming in.
Hi, Eric, Kimball here and Martin. And you are, you would like to renew your LMHC a license. You're close to passing your exam.
Yes, sir.
And you had asked for testing accommodations last time, which you found helpful. Would encourage you to try to get those again.
Oh, yeah, I heard about it.
Okay, good.
Taking it, yeah.
What kind of work are you doing right now?
I work in private practice. I specialize in working with people with ADHD and autism through using, sorry, I'm kind of blanking out here. Using a lot of
Let me go back first,
sure.
if you don't mind. Is this your own private practice or
No.
someone else's?
I work with someone else. So I use PCT and I'm also using psychoeducation, dialectical behavior therapy, and cognitive behavioral therapy, working with individuals I myself have these conditions, so I have a unique perspective in it. And a lot of times I'm the person that determines someone, even if it's a child or an adult, getting looked at for a diagnosis for autism and ADHD where they would have been missed for it.
And you probably heard us say that the LMHCA license is a pass-through to your full clinic.
If there's anybody who's completely aware of how that, I feel that hasn't feel that to me, because the problem I have is just passing the test, and as ADHD, PTSD, GAD, MBD,
the first couple of times, I just went in and pointed out. The last time before I did, I have my supervisor at the time also helped me through some trauma processing. And so I was able to walk in, take the test, have the information, not stressed out, not blanking out. I just fell short like by 5 points on each section, and that was it, that was a huge change compared to the test before that.
Right.
So, and I love this job. It's my passion, you know, and
You
so
love what?
I love this job. It's my
This
passion.
job, I thought you said, I love to shop in your land. I was like, I do too. That's it. Okay.
You know,
Okay.
You said the practice is someone else's. Are you an employee of
Yes.
the practice?
a W2 employee.
If there's any questions, the other questions from the board, I'll move that we allow Mr. Stobie to renew his LMHCA license.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you very much for spending next to that. I promise.
Next step, Brendan.
I have to submit the ticket to IT to allow him renewal to be available for you, and then I'll send you an email once it's available, and then you can go in and renew your associate license.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jessica Yates, LMHCA renewal. Hello, Ms. Yates.
Jessica, you would like another opportunity to have your LMHCA license. You said we are in receipt of a message from you. You said you'd like to take the exam in September,
Correct.
correct?
We have that scheduled.
Okay, it's scheduled, which is good.
Mhm.
Now, typically, we will get some kind of an explanation about why haven't I taken the exam? What's my holdup? Why is it taking so long, et cetera?
Absolutely.
But we didn't get that from you.
I apologize. I have that ready to go now.
Okay.
Happy to share that.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew, I think I kind of was in that one without, oh my gosh, you can't renew online, and I had called, so it was on the phone, and they said, send an email and request, for the license, the renewal extension, but I apologize for that. But I have that ready if you're ready to hear.
Give us the short version, if you don't.
Sure, yes. So I have been working as a school counselor for the past 14 years, with a plan to pivot to a job as a therapist now that my children are older. I have twins. And so I was approved to sit for the NCMHCE, this past March. And so that is kind of the piece of it. I'm interested in this world and wanting to become a part of this world, but that's kind of what it's, so I've held that same job as a school counselor now for 14 years.
Are you licensed as a school counselor?
Yes, so I have that through the Department of Education license, yes, correct.
What school system do you work in?
Zionsville Community School.
Oh, okay.
So, I've taken those steps towards full licensure. I love my job as a school counselor, but I also really have, always had passion for specifically the field of mental health. And just, building others' emotional resilience, actively improving their quality of life. I just would love the opportunity to have this renewal and then, to get to for the exam and build a career in the mental health field.
And I'm sorry if you said this and I just didn't hear this part. What has taken you past the usual number of renewals?
Oh, sure, yes. Well, okay, I was not aware of the minimal rule, so I apologize for that. I had been, keeping that license active. I've been really enjoying the field of school counseling, but really wanting to, my children, I've had twins, and they're now 10, and that just, now that they're a little bit older, I feel like I was kind of on autopilot for a bit in my world and wanting to do what I was really familiar with. And now I'm really looking forward to reaching out and growing and building these skills into the licensure in the mental health realm. That kind of, that's so really right.
And whatever you brought with you today, is that your only copy, or did you also submit something to your portal?
Oh, I did not submit something to the portal. I am happy to submit something to the portal, or I can give you this copy. I brought 2 copies, whatever is easier.
It'd be helpful to leave one with us.
Sure.
Maybe submit it.
Yeah.
To the portal as well, so we can make sure, sound reasonable.
Sure.
Any questions for Jessica? I'll make a motion that we allow Jessica to renew her LMHCA license.
Second.
So you can take it in September. You can take it in September.
Thank you very much.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Good luck, Jessica.
Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and do that.
Thank you. That will go to Ms. Dana.
Okay, so that's, oh, okay, absolutely.
Next up, we have Nicole Day, LMHC. Anyone? Hello. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Martin. This is Kimball. You are here, I believe, you have a positive, what we call a positive response. And so, our desire is not really to get into the weeds of that incident, but really to understand, how it is impacting your current work. And then, also just to clarify that it is resolved, the legal situation. So can you speak to that?
Absolutely. I'm coming up in a year when the incident occurred, it was May 1st, 2025. I went ahead and proactively attended. It was a misdemeanor. I completed all of my probation that was required. I've been working with a mental health counselor. I submitted a letter. I wasn't sure if it was up. I got a hard copy as well. With her attesting that my professional ability has not been impacted by any means. It did occur on Saturday evening. Not impacted my job. It has made me reevaluate personal choices and relationship issues. But definitely not my professional role.
Yeah, so, thank you for that. I do wonder, hearing you say it hasn't really affected you professionally, I wonder what kind of work you're doing.
So I'm the director of mental health counseling at Ivy Tech. I oversee the mental services we provide, and then also anytime the university Bloomington asks that we house interns, I provide their supervision as well.
Yeah, I would suspect that from time to time you're working with individuals who perhaps have been involved in the legal system or related to substance use work.
Actually, no. That best policy for our university is that is deemed outside of the premise of practice, and we are required to submit to community providers.
Fascinating. Okay. And you're off paper. The legal situation has been resolved, is that correct?
Correct. That was my question. I don't
Do
see.
you have documentation?
Yeah.
I submitted it, my case where the final ruling was, placed. I have the case number, if that would help.
I didn't see that. It said probation was done.
The case number I have, I don't know if there's any of them.
I'm just looking at what you submitted.
Okay, I can find it on my case to show the date. The court date was in October. The ruling was decided, and then I went to find probation and.
We have something that says you completed probation.
Uh,
Yes, I can now ask her for a letter. So my probation officer actually ended up going on leave. And so she had assigned me a new person temporarily and said, if this becomes an issue, let me know and I can submit a letter as well. That's why I went ahead and asked my licensed therapist to go ahead and submit that if there was anything needed in the gap period where she wasn't in office because the person was covering her cases. I did not work with them.
So I wonder, can we do it contingent on receiving that documentation?
If that's all you need is that, then you don't have concerns about it.
So does it just need to be a letter from the probation officer stating that if the conditions were completed?
Taking that.
I think that's advice.
Because the only my case documents we received were from November and December of 2025. So that's probably why it doesn't show it on there.
It should have been decided back in October.
It was decided, but it's not finished, so you have to have something that says
Okay.
finished your probation.
Gotcha.
It's, otherwise it's still open, that's the
Okay. Yes, it did, it finished, so.
Yeah, so you should have some documentation that says this. If you met all the criteria, then it's no longer.
I think it was completed right after the renewal, so I hit a weird, I believe it was like April 6th, and so, yeah, it's been an interesting, yeah.
So it's the updated my case report from, if you pull it today, if it shows that.
Okay.
Reason why, one of the reasons why we're focused on that detail is because oftentimes if somebody's somebody is on active probation, will put their professional license also on probation during that time until it's resolved. But we don't want to necessarily do that if yours is already,
Yes, it's already been.
we just have to have
Documentation.
documentation. Right?
So I'll make a motion that pending receipt of documentation of probation being complete, that we on the stage agreement.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Tina Berman. Thanks for coming in today.
Hi, Tina. We are seeing you today because you have, I believe, reapplied to Indiana for your LMHC license. You had one at one point, right?
Up until April 1st.
And then, okay, sorry, thank you. It's not that you're moving back to Indiana, you never left Indiana.
No, I left.
Oh.
But I
You went to Oregon.
obtained that license and got licensed in Oregon.
Are you coming back to the state then?
I now live here. I was gone for about, from April of 23 until August of 2024.
The issues that Oregon had with your license really were based on the things that happened in Indiana. It wasn't a new case or issue. So your current Oregon license is on suspension.
Until August.
It started in February, right? And then it
We'll go for 6 months.
now, what is your understanding about the status of a consumer complaint in Indiana? Do you know if there's anything going on with your possible discipline in
Oh.
Indiana?
No. I guess I'm confused. I was just under the impression to come here.
Okay. How did the state of Oregon, how did they become aware of
The person who called Indiana also called.
I see. Do you know if anyone from the Office of Attorney General here in Indiana has made an inquiry or saying, hey, we're investigating these complaints?
I believe Indiana and Oregon spoke. That's where all the. I submitted everything, so I was under the impression that they had spoke to one another. Because I originally received something from Indiana. Now, this has been going on since October 24, so,
Right.
I believe I first got something from Indiana, and then after that, I got something from Oregon.
As far as we know, or as far as I'll say, as far as I know, you've never been before our board for any kind of potential discipline. Is it your understanding that there is an open case and it just hasn't been resolved, that there's not even,
No, this is.
did you receive anything from the Office of Attorney General saying that this issue's been resolved? Or you just don't, you haven't had anything yet?
I apologize because there were two different states. I just was under the impression that those two entities had spoken, Oregon and Indiana, and they were just, Oregon made their decision, and now I received paperwork to come here to resolve it.
Okay. It's helping us understand our process too,
I'm sorry.
because, we want to make sure that we're doing our procedures in the correct order as well. It seems like there would be some sort of a potential open case that we might want to know about or address.
So I guess I thought my also understanding is that they did the investigation and then spoke to Indiana, and then everybody has the same information, so
We haven't seen it. I mean, we've seen it because we supplied it in Oregon, we've seen their documents. But we haven't had this come to us from our own agency.
And that's confusing because I know Indiana and Oregon were communicating via email, so I don't know
Right.
why that didn't trickle down.
The incident happened in Oregon.
No.
Here.
Well, that's confusing because I was gone. I guess it depends on how you look at it. The 2-year period, during the 2-year period from termination until now, or August of 24, a big majority of that I was living and practicing in Oregon. So,
Well, but in the order from Oregon, it says from approximately October 2021 to June 2022, while licensed and employed in Indiana,
so that portion, yes.
licensee provided professional counseling services to the
I'm sorry.
client in question.
Confused by the question. So yes, it did happen here.
Right. Okay.
Yes, I apologize.
You didn't move to Oregon until April 2023, correct?
Yes.
So let me just take a time out for a second and ask our council
Yeah.
for some guidance. It sounds like we want to make sure that we're in step with any processes.
And Kimball, can I ask a question about what are the requirements for you to come off of suspension in the state of Oregon? What's your understanding of what happens at the end of the 6 months?
So after 6 months, I just reapply and then I need to be on probation for a year.
You have to reapply, and they will put you on probation with terms of some
A
sort.
year, yeah, I'll be on probation for a year. And then, I'll have to have supervision.
Were there any requirements during this suspension period? You're just not to progress? Okay.
Let me get a little bit more clarity. So your suspension lasts for a period of no less than 6 months, beginning February 10, 2026.
Correct.
So you'll be eligible to complete your suspension in, August. Is that your plan?
Yes.
Okay, so you will request a come-off suspension in August of 2026. And then that would be the earliest possible, then you would be on probation in the state of Oregon until August 2027. And that's all if everything happens at its earliest interval. Okay.
And the reason why, I mean, I don't live there, I don't plan on living there again. I just really appreciate the diverse cultures between Oregon and I'm living there for a year and a half. I not Indiana. Got to appreciate that, so.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify the timeline for myself.
think we should have one. So unusual since another state took action. I'll have to hear first.
I think they did that because I renewed sooner there.
When was the order by Oregon issued
Effective February 10th.
this year?
Yes. But this all started in October, the folder, so I don't remember who I got what from first.
So it all occurred after the last renewal or your?
Well, let me make a statement about that. The incidents happened around 21,
One to 22, yes,
and then there was,
a 2-year review.
somebody made a complaint, right?
Correct,
Was that where your agency made the
No.
complaint, the consumer?
yes.
And somebody made it what we call a consumer complaint.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to figure out, what is interesting to us perhaps, is that our board didn't hear about it, or at least yet. Another board actually took action on it before your home state board.
And the incident didn't even occur there.
Right. I think, Oregon made the right call to investigate and make a decision on your license based on what happened, but we're trying to understand what our options are for your
I understand.
renewal.
So you were released by phone, Senator, in July of 2022. Did you report that on your 2024 renewal?
I don't remember.
Something we can see.
I was trying to pull up that and it's, for some reason, the renewals aren't pulling up for me for that time period, so I can't pull up the record right now. I did leave a note that if anything of that nature would have occurred and would have needed to be reported on the 2024 renewal.
Were you licensed in Oregon in
Yeah.
22?
No.
At the time of the incident?
No. I wasn't living in London.
Her associate license expired in
You are currently physically living in Indiana, correct? And you are maintaining your Oregon license either because you just want to keep it or you want to resolve that issue.
Well, I'm not using it, so, yeah, I plan on following the steps to
Right.
do that, but
Are you working currently?
I-
What are you doing?
I'm doing on there. About that,
Under what license?
my Indian license.
Because I got a letter that says I'm allowed to practice while in review. Doesn't mean I was allowed to do that.
From Indiana.
Yeah.
She got into practice, like, how did, Oregon know to even look into anything in Indiana?
There was a complaint there was a consumer complaint.
To
On
Oregon?
Correct.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
they did both places.
got it, thank you, I was like, how did that happen? Okay.
And Cindy, what did you say about her active license or her? Said something about them.
She has an active
She has a-
LHC license.
Yeah, she has a valid practice of being reviewed, which is given to people that are appearing before the board that have positive visual aids.
Gotcha.
So she can practice. We don't know why the Attorney General brought it to us.
Well, that's if a complaint was filed to the Indiana State Chief's office.
That may be an issue though that we need to follow up on.
I don't know, it just said they both.
They did both.
Well, do you have any of the communications between Indiana and Oregon?
I thought that was part of the fall files I uploaded. There was a lot of information in there, so.
So if they were,
I'm not seeing anything from the state of Indiana.
yeah, so if Oregon was reaching out only to the AG's office, we wouldn't have.
No, yeah. I'm just wondering why the AGs, is it like, I think your question at the beginning was like, is it an open investigation, is it 4 years later? Right.
And we don't want to make any decisions that would be inappropriate right now. So give us just a minute here, Adam's looking at some information.
It's a bit of an unusual situation because it's something that happened here, but have another state that took action. So give a couple options. Just with any other case, you have the option to renew free and clear. You could renew and file your own complaint through your licensing enforcement. You could deny the renewal. The fourth option would be a renewal on probation, but she would have to agree to the terms. Obviously, even with a license on probation, you have to make a determination about practicing with reasonable skill and safety to the public.
Well, we have before us that another state has suspended the license based on information that they've heard and are aware of. And so it would seem like our option, I'm sorry, I'm talking to my board members, but obviously I want to be here too. So you, go ahead.
I've got a question. So when you went to Oregon and initially applied for the license there, did you say anything about what went on here, had occurred here?
No, because at that point, nothing had occurred.
You had been terminated, correct?
I left.
You left Indiana.
Yeah.
But this question was, you were terminated by phone. What's the phone? In Indiana, that would be a reportable thing that you would fix.
Guess I'm confused because that,
Well, the letter from the Bowen Center states that they terminated you, and they give the reasons why.
that's not.
Did you upload this letter?
No.
Where did we get the letter?
From they sent it directly here. But the date was 2022.
So they have reported that to us in 22. And we were waiting for, on her license renewal, for her to disclose it. And I just uploaded the two license renewals we had on 22 and 24. And she did not disclose anything to us.
This is a technically confusing issue. That we want to make sure as best we can to act on it appropriately, keeping in mind that we are, the board is here to protect our public citizens and to make sure that they have access to practitioners who we hold to be, have minimum standards of safety to practice. I'm thinking that to grant your license, to renew your license outright seems perhaps ill-advised, noting that you have a suspended license in another state. And that we have no new or updated information. It's the same information, basically. You are suspended from that state. And that was a punishment, if you will. They're gonna, or their plan, according to you, is to place you on probation after that. But you have to wait for that date to come around, essentially. We could deny your request, but the renewing it outright and denying it seem like two opposites that I think somewhere in the middle is going to be the right vote. So we could either,
I mean, I would just posit to you that in a scenario where someone has a license suspended in another state, denial is not, and I wouldn't say it's an extreme. It would not be an extreme decision if this board wanted to make it in a scenario like this.
I think, you know, my concern is that, you know, the incident happened in the state of Indiana while she was practicing in the state of Indiana. And it didn't happen all that long ago. And her license in Oregon is suspended through at least August of this year. And currently she's practicing with a license that's free and clear in the state of Indiana. When she has a suspended license for something that happened in Indiana and Oregon.
If you look at Oregon's, order and the timing in which the messages with the patient are discussed, it's like some of the messages may have taken place after moving to Oregon. So I think that kind of helps explain why in a lot of cases, we would see one state trying to tell another state, we're gonna let you take the front on this and maybe act. This could explain why Oregon chose to go ahead and act on its own accord, because even though it's with an Indiana patient, she was located in Oregon.
And I think part of the issue that they addressed in their order was not only what happened in Indiana, but that having a relationship under that 5-year time frame that they mentioned in the order. So that would have happened in Oregon where she was licensed. So I guess maybe that's the justification that they used to say, we want to address this.
yeah, well, they're being prudent.
Yeah.
Well, that's helpful for me to think about that, why Oregon may have placed something, but then I wonder, Adam, what would be the appropriate thing for Indiana to do in response to that?
I think my advice to the board would be to deny the renewal and let her get Oregon cleaned up before coming back.
And refer to the AG's office.
Well, I think you could do both in a scenario like this. I don't know if the renewal is denied here. to what extent they're gonna bring forward an action. I don't know if it's a non-renewed license at this point, but she's been suspended in another state. And in effect, if you don't give a renewal, then that's sort of like giving full faith and credit to Oregon's order.
This would be new for me in this process, so if you deny the renewal, then when this is resolved in Oregon, what would be the process here?
Well, then she-
Apply,
She'd apply for reinstatement,
reinstate, okay.
and at that point, we'd be talking about a reinstatement with
Whatever.
either the probationary terms that she has in Oregon, or she resolves the probation in Oregon and then comes back for reinstatement for a clear, whichever, ultimately ends up being the best course of action for her to take.
Does it seem,
The issue is, even if you come up with probationary terms and put her on probation, you're saying with those probationary terms that this person is safe to practice, when Oregon has made a determination that she's not until some passage of time, currently suspended until that day comes. Now, it looks like Oregon may, the way Oregon's order is written, that it may be an automatic transfer from being suspended to being on probation. We don't really, as you all know from how we do probation, suspensions and probations here, we don't normally do that kind of automatic transition. We always have a hearing for those reinstatements, but she's currently suspended. It may be on probation in a few months. But I don't think it's a good idea to renew, and I'm not sure exactly what probationary terms you would even want to proceed with when those are not in effect in Oregon yet.
Well, I wondered if a response, having read this earlier, would be that if we would suspend it as well, but you're saying a pathway would be
We
to
can't-
deny it, just to deny it, and then
Right.
and let it play out, and then she can reinstate it.
So theoretically,
hang on one second.
Okay, sure.
That was gonna be my suggestion too. Could we renew it but suspend it? That way we could,
No, because you have to have a disciplinary hearing in order to suspend it.
I think, go ahead. John, thank you.
In Oregon, did they explain to you how they would discipline you for an action in Indiana?
Yeah.
Did you ask the question?
Just thought it was that. Just had to listen to what, I had an attorney. And I thought my attorney argued it.
yeah, I mean, based upon how I read the order, I can see where Oregon said, we've got cause to intervene on this. Complaint was made. I mean, it's not,
A complaint was made, and some of the actions involving an Indiana patient, looks like she was physically located within Oregon when she took those professional actions.
And it could be that there was communication between Oregon and Indiana at the Attorney General level that we don't know about, and that they came up with that very decision.
since she was living in
Yeah.
Oregon at the
She was
time.
there at the time, and that was partly.
Yeah.
So I can see that.
So a theoretical question, Adam, or an option. So if we deny her renewal today, and 6 months from now, well, in August, she moves from having a suspended license to having a license on probation, would it be possible for her to then, once she moves from suspension to probation, would it be possible for her to then engage with us and say, I'd like to reinstate my license? And then we could prove that on probation.
With reciprocal terms potentially.
Right. So that would be a possibility as an option.
Potentially.
You know, I've never been one to feel good about just denying an application. Not that we have to feel good or bad, but we always like to think about ways to create a pathway, but we also, you know, taking all into account. This is probably the first time we've ever, that I can recall, had a case like this before the board where something happened here, got disciplined without us disciplining it in our state, in another state. It's complicated, as you know. The issue is complicated too. And I will just pose to you that if we do move and vote to deny your application, it doesn't mean that's forever. You can reapply. And it also probably means, I don't know what Oregon's gonna recommend, but sometimes what we recommend and do in Indiana is to have someone get a fitness for duty evaluation to determine their ability to practice in our state. So just for you to start thinking about some of those things. But, and you're not on trial today, but at some point, there may be a formal hearing where we would have to decide on some of the details and what to put into place. Does anybody have any more questions, comments? Thank you for your counsel. Adam, it is helpful. We want to make sure we do this properly. So I'll move that we deny Tina's application request.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Renewal denied.
So what does this mean as far as like getting off of the online form that I'm working? Do I have 2 weeks to do that or?
What's the question? I'm sorry.
Like, how does she disengage with her current caseload?
Yeah.
I don't have a license. You don't have, like, it's not a
So
license anymore.
Okay.
Well, how quickly will you process? Like currently, she has a license pending today.
We'll have to send her a formal letter of denial, and she'll remain valid in practice until that letter goes out.
Do you know how long that takes?
I can't give the estimate time.
So I have a couple of days to just get.
You can start contacting clients and transferring them over to the shared care and stuff like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Next up, we have Saray Fair. No, I messed that up. I apologize. What's the correct pronunciation?
Saray.
Saray. Okay. Thank you. Welcome today.
I Steve B. Weber Social Work, and you are here for your renewal. You indicated a positive response. And unfortunately, you didn't provide a lot of information. So all you said was that you had this happen recently. And that, was there a pre-trial conference scheduled? Did it happen?
So I had an initial hearing. They had another hearing to discuss like, and then I have a big trial coming up next month.
So it's not,
Everything's
it's all pending, it's all in the air.
pending. I work now.
Because you said it was under legal review, and I didn't know what that meant.
Because everything's pending.
Okay, that's what she,
They told me I didn't say much about the specific case. I haven't turned.
okay,
Everything's pending right now, and I haven't finished trial coming up.
okay. In June. Okay. So typically, you may have heard in these scenarios, what around your license, while you have something that's open like that or you're on probation, God, I don't know what will happen. We would propose putting your license just on probation until that's resolved. And then make sure that things are in place because we don't have a lot of information. That seems reasonable to you that we would do something like that?
Yeah, and like I said, like my work knows, and I was still in practicing because it's
Yeah.
valid to practice while reviewed. So
Right.
I've been checking it every day.
Yeah.
just to make sure.
No, it is, and that's why you're here, is to resolve, to understand that.
Right.
And what I'm hearing you say is that you're not at liberty to really talk about this because it's, your attorney's advised you not to share a lot of information.
But, yeah, I don't have a big trial coming up next
Right.
month.
So,
Everything's been, nothing's been convicted.
okay, so then I think what I would recommend, and you seem to be in agreement with it, is that we would propose putting your license on probation until the criminal issue is resolved. What that would mean is that when that's resolved, you would come back to us and say, here's what's happened. And then we make a decision from there. Okay,
So real quick, Steve, so it's a pending charge, are you going to trial, is it?
I've been trial this month, so everything's still pending.
So, because it's a pending criminal charge, there's a couple options of how we could actually deal with it. Which, if she's agreeable to, we can go ahead and do the probationary status for the license. But you also have the option of renewing her and referring the matter to the Attorney General's office, since it's currently a pending charge.
and it wouldn't, it's not, the bench trial is not until later, so we.
And we don't, she's at the stage where, she may or may not be convicted.
Okay, well, that makes more sense then.
You could do either one. If she's agreeable to probationary terms on the license, but then, if she gets the bench trial next month and she's acquitted and all that, then you would have to come back before this board at least once for a hearing to withdraw the probation.
That was with the other option.
Or,
We make a referral to the Attorney General, and they'll look into it, and then in touch with you, and then come back to the board with either a hearing or a proposal or something.
So would it stay valid to practice until then, or?
Yeah.
well, under that, you'd actually be renewed free and clear.
And your license would be active if that was the case.
Until it's the next step.
Then if you went to trial and were convicted, or you reached a plea agreement or something else, then licensing enforcement would be keeping tabs on that, and they could, if that came up, and they could bring a case before this board.
For the addiction side, the uncomfortable part is that this was last February, and you don't have much information, so I don't
That
know.
just happened.
I know, I hear what you're saying,
Right.
but.
You
Say
know,
pretty clear that we're.
So she's innocent until proven guilty.
So are you clear on the difference, the two different options, are you clear on that, or is it still murky?
So, I guess I'll understand it, like, if you did probation, I'd be on probation for a certain amount of time until this is resolved. Or it would be renewed until. Turn.
Well, given you say innocent until proven guilty, I feel like we have to say, well, I'll make a motion that we renew her license and then make a referral to the Attorney General's office for one.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
That's it, Kelly's not here.
Oh, that's right. I apologize.
Yes.
So, basically. Actually, until they get back to the attorney. General, I said that.
Yes.
Okay.
Give her a- Yeah.
Once I refer it over to the Office of Attorney General, you might receive notices from their office regarding that, and if they need you to submit any documentation for that.
Next up, we have Sydney Foss, LSW.
It's fine. You were, appointed to renew your LSW, and you had a positive response, and you shared that you had a case dismissed with no arrest, no conviction. Um, it was resolved as a disorderly conduct
In Michigan.
in Michigan. But then you completed all the terms of the probation.
It was like, kind of, I don't know, the way they word it, kind of like diversion, like, so set, they call it set aside, so there's no conviction or anything, and then I completed non-reporting probation, and then they dismissed all of it.
Because it was hard to understand because you didn't really explain what this was about.
Oh, sorry, I just.
Oh, so I'm sorry, we had to ask questions.
Yeah, of course, it's.
So can you explain to us what this was about? In as simple terms as you can, just so we have some understanding of
Yeah,
doing around probation, so that seems like something.
so, in October of 2024, but, I put my ex in jail for felony domestic violence. And a few days later, his girlfriend at the time filed some charges against me. And ultimately that, but I've never met her, she was in Michigan. And so ultimately I went the route of the set aside, like, they set aside again, non-reporting probation. Came to go to Michigan, there was no arrest. I successfully completed that.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are safe for her. I didn't hurt this, sorry.
Understandable. But we ask these questions because you may have heard Mr. Richardson say, we're about making sure the public is safe and that you're safe to practice.
Yeah.
You're able to do,
Yeah.
and so you did the right thing. You told us about this, and we just need to make sure that it was okay.
And we did trauma therapy and all those things, and then, but there's letters of support from my current employer and my therapist and my supervisor.
Okay. And so, yeah, we did have to ask you for additional information, which you supplied, so I'm going to figure this all out. Okay. And what are you doing now? Are you working now?
Yes, I am. I'm a clinical therapist at a residential treatment center.
And you're under supervision or you're working toward your clinical license?
I am. I went on this kind of thing, took a bit of a tour out of the work for a little bit, but yeah, I'm hoping to get outside for the LCS stuff use sometime later this year.
Questions? So I will say, when you apply for your clinical license, of course, you'll have to disclose it to the client. But in your affidavit, say that you've spoken to us already about it, and that will be we'll look back, and then you don't have to relive it again.
Thank you, that's good to know.
Right, assuming nothing else happens, which we don't expect it will. But then, okay. All right, well, I'll make a motion that we accept Ms. Foss's explanation and approve her application for review.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Oh, you're sorry, yeah, okay. Okay, 6-0-1,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
motion passes.
Do I need to do this part of the renewal? No, thank you so much.
For the work, there you go.
Next up, we have Amanda Gibson, LMHC renewal.
Ms. Gibson, you've been waiting since early
We got here early.
this morning, first in line. Kimberly Martin here representing the mental health counselor section. You're here because you have what we call a positive response. You said yes to one of the questions, and so we're here to ask you about that and to see if there's anything that needs to be done about it. In September 2024, you had a charge. You were ordered to your probation and what they call a care assessment. I don't know what that is, but CAR assessment. Okay. My understanding is that you completed your probation in September of 2025 with no incidents.
Correct.
The issue, I think, at this point is that you didn't really say what happened. You didn't tell us in the details, so if you can just say in general, because it was, not too long ago. So we just want to make sure that we have an understanding of what took place.
Yes, I made a terrible decision to, substance-induced trespass onto my mother's property. she requested I leave and I did not, and the police were involved.
And, how did you get to that point? How did you get to make a decision like that?
I was heavily intoxicated. My daughter was over there. We had lived next door at the time, so I wasn't driving anywhere, walked over there. And I wanted her to come home.
And your mom said no, if it would leave.
Yeah.
So she called the police.
Yeah.
Okay. Was this like a one-time incident? Was this something that was the last straw, you know?
I mean, she had warned me before, don't come over here if you're intoxicated. So that's where the trespassing.
Tell us about, you know, this probably we're gonna ask you these questions, all right, so we have an understanding for our public to make sure that they're getting counselors who are taking good care of themselves. So tell us about your alcohol use now.
Now, I've been sober for 22 months. I did a 1-year-long treatment program through Aware Recovery here. Completed that. I still attend AA meetings. I'm very involved in AA. I go to retreat. I do fellowship with them. I honestly feel like a completely different person. The growth that I felt had been, and then I don't know how other kids.
How are you doing with your mom?
She's right there.
Oh, wow,
She's my biggest supporter.
okay. Big turnaround.
Yeah.
And how about your daughter?
I'm a single mom. She's doing great.
So you are in active recovery
Mhm.
program?
Yeah.
And your probation has been completed?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for you?
Just wonder how your practice has changed.
So I am actually a behavior consultant, through the Medicaid waiver. I also do private practice on the side though, which is why I still carry my LMHC. I work for, Sondermind and Better Health. So I have not seen, substance disorder clients up until actually February, when I took my first one, and then I ended up letting her go because of this, and I was under the impression that I couldn't practice, period, until I met with the board, so.
Very cautious.
Yeah, I don't play around in it, no.
Right. Well, thank you, Amanda, for, sorry you had to get to that point where those tough love choices were put in place, but it sounds like it was a wake-up call for you. You took care of business there, as you said. So I'll make a motion to renew, or do we need to do anything about this? Just approve her without anything, just approve.
Did you have no concern?
I'll just make a motion to approve Ms. Gibson's LMHC license.
For renewal, right?
For renewal.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Next up, we have Wendy Gould. Oh,
Sorry, do I need to do anything on my end regarding, should be active in the,
Just give me time to process it, and then once I'm finished renewing it, then I'll show it.
okay, thank you, appreciate it.
next up, we have Wendy Gore, LCSW.
You're applying to renew your LCSW. And you provided a lot of information. It sounds like a lot of stuff is going on. But it's pretty current, right? So this was an issue that happened a couple of years ago, but then something happened again in some. Yeah. So can you give us, when you submitted this, there were some dates coming up that we're gonna provide some more follow-up, like in April. So what happened?
Yes, so I, went ahead and moved my court date up, wanted to get everything done before I came in front of the board. So I had a year and a half probation. I did submit, the plea agreement and the sentencing, from April. I uploaded it and emailed it to, when I got a notification that's going to be coming here.
We can chat that, but you'll have to tell us if that
Yeah.
wasn't here.
Yes. Yeah, that would have probably been the 1st of May, like I just found out that
Okay.
the date to come.
Well, while we're looking for that, you had mentioned that there was a substance abuse evaluation that was ordered. Did you do that yet?
Yes, so I've actually been in, I voluntarily, before any charges were filed in the second one, went to treatment and I'm still actually doing outpatient. I've been in the program for 4 months. So I attend one group a week and then still attend, therapy with the same therapist at the Indian Center for Recovery. I've been doing that for 4 months.
Okay.
So I started in their PHP from home program, then I went to IOP 5, then IOP 3, and now I'm just doing OP. None of it was residential, I was always, commuting.
And was there some assessment in there to determine what level of service you need or diagnosis or what?
I think more came out of it than just substance. A lot of, some mental health issues that I needed to address. Right now, I think most of my substance use goals in my treatment plan have been achieved. It's a lot of perfectionism and a lot of anxiety. There's been a lot of guilt and shame surrounding events. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're surrounded by a lot of support.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Some really strong people that are supporting you and guiding you.
absolutely, yes. My job has been fabulous through all of this, been taking place through both of them. My therapist testified at my sentencing. I served 4.5 weekends in jail already.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
So
so
that's done.
this is my last big hurdle.
Well, because you just said that you're on probation for this issue for 18 months, right?
Yeah.
And were there other requirements that they had?
No, just, paying the fee, et cetera, yeah.
Okay, so they didn't order you to, like, continue therapy or?
Just follow the recommendations since I've already been voluntarily doing it. Yes, yeah. I have probably about another one.
Oh, you're at the end of that.
Just, I will be outsourced to a different therapist.
So you don't continue therapy.
Oh, yeah, I had a therapist before. Cost kind of became a factor of my frequency of visits. So after the incident in December, I just kind of took it upon myself to, so I'm still actually technically on intermittent FMLA. I'm only working about 30 hours a week. But I did take some time off, when I was doing the PHP from home. So I did take I don't know, 3-4 weeks where I was not working at all. And then I've been slowly building back up to my full-time status.
Okay.
Well, all of what you submitted is already done.
Okay.
For the plea agreements on page 5 and 6.
Are there other questions that folks have about? Mary? Yes, as I said before, in these kinds of scenarios, what we would do is propose while you're in the criminal probation, that we put your license on probation until that's resolved. And you said you have to follow whatever they say. So that would be my recommendation. Does that seem agreeable to you? And then what that would mean is that when that's resolved, then you would request to have a hearing here to come off of probation. And you'd explain what was done to finalize all, meet all the requirements for the criminal thing after arrest, and then we could go from there. But in the meantime, you have license to practice in your too. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, so your motion would be for the license renewed on indefinite probation until completion and resolution of the criminal probation. She would need to keep her contact information updated with the board. Do you want any kind of reports?
Yeah.
Periodically about? So you want those from the probation officer on a quarterly basis?
Yeah, and maybe even the employer, because I think that would be helpful.
Pardon?
The employer too. Do you need to say that she would? Does it imply that she'll follow whatever their recommendations are? What's in the,
Which recommendations are you talking about?
they had recommended that she complete the substance use, whatever they said. So
If
is
it's part of the criminal probation, yeah. If it's not formally part of the criminal probation, but
that,
she's
it is.
in, okay, then yeah.
So yeah, that's,
So should cost her probation officer to submit quarterly reports verifying the compliance with probation. Cause employer to provide quarterly supervision reports.
yes.
Do you need to hear that again, or are you good?
Do you
I'm
need,
stepping in for John for.
do you need any other, she's currently under treatment. It's included within the criminal probation, but sometimes you've asked for a separate term when there's substance
If we get the
history involved.
probation report and the employer report, we're gonna have some.
Okay. Sometimes, normally you would require a board order signed by the employer that her employer provided this letter, kind of saying,
It's the same.
yeah. So I think that's fine, except for they'll need to be aware that they need to send in the reports. So you're not requiring the signed board order, but she will want to make sure that her employer needs to submit those reports.
Is that just emailing? I mean, it's obviously not uploading in my portal, so how do they?
They can,
Okay.
So we have a motion.
They can email or they can provide you the report and can upload it to your board.
Perfect.
Either or.
Perfect. I think I'd like to do that. That way everything's in my.
that you know it's done.
Yep.
So that's my motion.
Been moved, we're looking for a second.
Could we get it back real quick? It's in the wash.
Yeah, so the motion is to renew girl CSW on indefinite probation to a completion and resolution of the criminal probation. She'll need to keep her contact information updated with the board, cause her probation officer to submit quarterly reports verifying compliance with the probation. Cause her employer to submit quarterly supervision reports and follow all other laws and regulations of the profession and provide you immediate notice of any new arrest charges, et cetera, standard language.
Sign forward.
We said.
So I asked, he didn't have, there's no signed board order included in the motion, but I'm guessing that's because the employer provided a letter as part of this process in here, so we know that they're aware of the whole situation.
Been moved and seconded to allow Ms. Gore to be renewed under probation. All those in favor? Aye. 2, 3. 0. with,
Yeah.
John.
Wonderful.
And because it's a renewal, she has to agree to the terms, so just for the record, she's agreed to it.
Yeah. So I have one question. I have a PDF from, my probation officer, because I just saw her last week. That would be able to go ahead and upload, saying that it's just a standard, like that I'm in compliance.
Yep.
Okay,
That's a good idea.
okay.
Thank you. You'll get, in the mail, a notice and also email when the order is, it's gonna take a little bit of time.
Okay,
But you'll get that, and when you get that, read it carefully and just keep doing the good work and following it, and then we'll see you in 18 months.
okay. A little less.
Yeah.
Would like to check with our board staff. On paper, it says Kevin Harper, but in the portal, it says Brenda Graves. Is next.
Go by it.
Did I get the name wrong?
No.
No, the one you're referencing,
It's,
I believe Miss Brenda is rescheduled. Yes, Miss Brenda has rescheduled.
Okay, calling Kevin Harper. So, Mr. Harper, we will have our social work section post your questions. And I'm sorry, we'll have our social work section post your questions.
Thank you. Sorry, I don't hear pretty good.
okay.
Right, what were you yelling at me?
Sure. You're reviewing your LSW and you provided information of what we call a positive response.
Yes,
And this is recent. This was just in January.
correct, sir.
And you provided a little bit of information. It wasn't very much. So we'll have to ask you some questions about what the status is. It said that you had entered a intensive outpatient treatment program
Correct,
that went from February until last week or so.
correct, sir.
Okay, so can you give us an update on what happened, what the status is?
The criminal charges,
Yeah.
I signed the plea bargain. I'm on probation until August of 2027. I have 10 months remaining on a alcohol monitoring system. I have to administer 5 tests a day, breath tests a day. I have random drug screens throughout the month. I report to probation once a month. I do individual therapy at the Wolf Center, where I had completed my IOP, 90 hours of group therapy. So I do individual work there as well, family work, and I am I've transitioned to what they call recovery management, which is a 90-minute group therapy course once a week. They're on site at the Wolf Center in Brownsburg. And I also attend self-help meetings. So I have 135 days of sobriety today. All my drug screens have come back negative. I've never tested positive for any alcohol through my breath test. Compliant with my probation. I've done everything that the Wolf Center has asked me to do.
Did you provide a copy of the plea agreement?
I did, yeah, it should have been attached with all my documentation.
Are you working now?
I'm not working in the field, no, sir. Since I entered recovery on January the 3rd, returning to the helping profession right now is not an option while I'm in early recovery. I honestly don't plan on returning to the social work profession until maybe 2 years is about my target. I think after 1 year, I am considering doing recovery coach, peer recovery coach work. I did that back in 2012. I was a CHWCRS and a recovery coach. So that might be an option for me as a transition back into the helping profession. But as of right now, I don't have any plans of returning until I have a really good foothold on my recovery.
So you're familiar with substance use and recovery work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not been an alcoholic and an addict most of my adult life, sir.
So is this a different time then? What's happened? What's happened? Now you've got some clarity about taking a pause and working on couple.
I'm 58 years old. I'm tired of going in and out of detoxes. I'm tired of suffering the tyranny and oppression from alcohol and drug addiction. I'm tired of losing jobs and ruining relationships and failing in life. I'm just tired of it.
Okay. Well, you got 135 days. That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good start. Way to go.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
So you've heard us in these discussions. It seems like would you be in agreement that it would be appropriate to put your social work license on probation during the period that your criminal probation is happening?
Yes, sir. You do whatever you see is appropriate.
Well, it seems it would be appropriate to, while that's playing out, if you're following all those requirements, that your social work license would be on probation, and we would ask for some reports and some contact about when your criminal probation is done. You'd come back before the board and say, that's over, and here's all the things I'm doing, and I'm ready to get back into social work.
Outstanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions? Yeah.
Just a comment, your thoughts about maybe becoming a peer coach kind of in this interim period.
Yeah.
So just a comment about that, make sure you get good supervision if you go that route with a clinician, because there's a lot of blurring that happens with the peer role if you're also a therapist.
Yeah.
So just make sure you have supervision.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you.
So I'm going to make a motion that we place his license on probation during the period of the criminal probation. We assume he'll follow all those requirements, that we would ask him to provide, if you're working, even as a recovery coach, that we would get a quarterly report from your supervisor to know what's going on. If you're not working, that you would provide a quarterly report yourself of just progress.
Okay.
And what else? That's it.
Quarterly reports from the probation officer.
Probation officer, yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
And keep information up to date. Can you say those things?
Yeah, like keeping contact information updated with the board, which includes the employer, information. I would say with this one, you might also want copies of the board orders signed by any employers when he starts employment.
Yes. What that means is if when you would get a job, you would show them the court order and have them sign a copy and submit that, so that they knew you were on, your license was on probation.
Sure. Okay. When I return to the helping profession. Because right now I work on
Even as a
manufacturing
recovery,
and assembly work.
Yeah.
but if you do a recovery coach, then that's helping.
Yeah,
coach. So
right.
that- yes. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
No problem. I can easily do that.
Okay.
So all the treatment that you're doing, the groups that you're going to, is that something that you've kind of entered into in collaboration with your treating provider, or are those conditions that were imposed by the court?
I started them before they were imposed, as part of my probation terms. I took the initiative and went ahead and started those on my own.
But they're part of your probation terms.
That's correct, sir. Yeah.
So your probation officer can report a report about that.
Exactly.
Or keep us up to date about your progress.
Yes.
So, just a couple other issues. Since he's not currently working and will have to be looking at going back into working, you want to see like a fitness for duty evaluation or anything like that? Since he'll be at some
Prior.
point
Yeah,
transitioning.
that's not a bad idea. So let's say that would be within what, 90 days of, applying to.
Requesting to.
Before requesting to be on probation.
You want a fitness for duty within requesting to be off of probation, but he'll already hopefully be working, right?
Oh. Well, I don't know. That's not what he said, so that's why I was thinking, he said he was gonna wait 2 years.
Yeah, before I return to the social work profession, I'm planning on waiting at least 2 years. And I'll be off probation in August of 2027. So that'll put us May of 2028. I'll plan on returning to the social
But you
work.
were thinking about doing some peer,
I might, it's considered, yeah.
so I guess my question is if you think
Yeah,
he may need like a fitness for duty evaluation for doing that, or
Maybe a different type of evaluation.
we've already had, hasn't he?
So maybe just before returning to work could be better.
Yeah.
Saying,
And submit it so that we can review it.
because maybe, I don't know at this point if you want to make, it was kind of suggested like, hey, you want supervision. But I don't know if you want to go down the road of like necessarily requiring any of that, but let's say he gets a fitness for duty evaluation and some gaps are noted. I don't know if you'll want to incorporate that within your probation or not. This is a situation where you have the pending, you kind of have two issues, right? You have the criminal issue themselves as well as the substance issue. And just kind of comparing this to the last case, the timeline is much shorter. Right? So. Yeah, so I guess I'm asking for if he's going to do the peer coaching, if you need a fitness for duty evaluation for that, or if you don't necessarily think it's necessary.
This board doesn't oversee that.
Right,
Okay.
I would say get it before returning to license practice.
yeah. Or prior to request.
Prior to commencing employment with a behavioral health player.
Yeah, say that, because that could still be at the end of probation.
That clears not now.
Yeah.
It will be in writing, so it'll make more sense. But for clarity, can you say it back to us?
Yes. So the motion would be for a license renewed on indefinite probation until completion and resolution of the criminal probation. The terms and conditions include keeping contact information updated with the board, causing the probation officer to submit quarterly reports verifying compliance with probation. Prior to commencing employment with a behavioral health employer, submit a fitness for duty evaluation for review by the board. Also submit a copy of the board order signed by any behavioral health employer upon commencing employment. Cause your employer to submit quarterly supervision reports. If not working, submit a quarterly written self-report detailing in progress. Follow all other laws and regulations of the profession.
Just add that working for a behavioral health employer would be for license practice, because he could be a peer coach that within the health.
Oh,
So I would just specify that as looking at the direction.
Maybe it's regarding a social work role instead of behavioral.
in a social work role.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
It's in more insight.
That's my motion with the friendly suggestions.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And all abstained? So that's 601.
So you're gonna get this in writing, it's gonna come to you in the mail, and you'll get an email when it's also available, so you'll know you can read it and understand it.
Wonderful.
And in the meantime, keep doing the good work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Next up, we have Amy Holber, LCAC.
Hi, Amy. Hi. Katie Adams, from the addiction section. Good to see you again. So, it's been a bit since we've seen you and there's some, new things that have happened. So will you share, I think it was November 24, I believe?
Yeah.
Will you share, that story for us?
Yeah, my husband and I went out to dinner, for an anniversary. And I had, 2 glasses of wine. And, we've been there for a couple hours, we had driven separately. So I had driven home, I wasn't feeling any kind of way, I felt perfectly okay. As I was turning to go on my road, I didn't use my turn signal, so I got pulled over. And, the police officer asked me if I had anything to drink, and I was honest, and I didn't drink, wine with my dinner. And so he didn't recognize her, and I, registered right at the legal limit, so I was driving in a dirty way.
And so tell us what has evolved since then for that charge.
It's completed. So I was ordered to attend a MAC panel. I was ordered a 60-day probation. I was ordered to attend Choices, consulting for treatment. And
What did that entail?
that entailed weekly, like substance abuse, counseling, with a therapist and, a group therapy session with the me. It was related to substance use, also like safe driving. There's like an 8-year curriculum, with like kid driving.
So is it like a first offender program that has all the tendencies to it, so universal people
Yeah,
would be into the same types of circumstances?
yes,
And that was an 8-week program, did you
yes,
say that, or? So you completed that,
yes.
and then when is your, probation end?
So it was 60 days after the initial, all of my court documents were uploaded to the portal. My case was, I don't remember the exact date it was completed, from the initial. My court date, like all of my court stuff was resolved June 23rd of 2025.
And anything that happened since then? Your arrests or legal issues and stuff? Are you working,
I,
had you been working during this time? Since the last time you worked,
I love my, so I have a little bit of a traumatic incident, but I won't say a little, I don't want to get emotional, or go into detail, but I had a traumatic event happen at my last employer. So I was left in September of 2024.
and then this incident happened a couple months later. And so you have applied for your renewal, so what are your plans?
I am looking right now, going back to work. I just needed, I've got an individual therapist, that I've been working with, doing some trauma processing over the last year. And,
people feel that I'm in a good place where I can start getting back into work again. So I'm just, looking to see what's out there, what's in it, to get back into my field and.
We have a little history with you, so we're aware of kind of other events that we got to today.
Sure.
So I'm wondering, what you think happened? Or what you feel like is gonna be different with your plan for recovery moving forward?
Well, so I'm not gonna assume that I can just, have one or two and be okay, even after the whole period of sobriety. Haven't had anything since then. I'm very active in Celebrate Recovery meetings. I do have a sponsor. Engage in a lot of community service work. And I do, have a couple of sponsees that I work with. I also attend, AA meetings as well, that I really enjoy Celebrate Recovery meetings and things.
That once a week, that happens in your community?
I usually, well, in our community, they're more popular now, so there's 4 churches in our community that have those. So I usually go to at least 2, and then I attend a recovery church as well. We have a recovery church in our town.
Where do you live?
In Terre Haute. And the church is called The Bridge, so if you're in Terre Haute, Sunday or Wednesday night, it's really awesome. Our pastor's in recovery.
It sounds like you have a lot of support around you.
I do.
Is that different from before, do you think?
A little bit. I wasn't attending that church at that time. I didn't start until, actually December of that year. And then, I wasn't engaging in community service as much because our church provides, dinners 4 nights a week to the homeless population in our city. So, I will usually go on the night. So Celebrate Recovery is on Monday night. And then, we have church on Wednesday night. So usually before the week services, I will go and help prepare meals and then serve them to people.
So how do you feel that has impacted you? And maybe your future practice?
Which one?
The work that you're doing, the involvement with your church and the community service and the Celebrate Recovery, how do you feel like that is going to impact your future practice?
Oh, definitely. I'm already an empathetic person. And if I am modeling recovery, I can be that positive role model for others too. Clients almost always ask, are you in recovery? And I say, yes, I am, and here's what I do. And hopefully that plants the seed if they're not already doing something.
It's hard to maybe ask questions or make comments without perhaps sounding judgmental, which is not what we're about. But you've had some struggles and challenges in this area. And it seems like it would be prudent for the board to have a period of time where we watched over you again to make sure that you maintained your good self-care right? So that again, we could make some kinds of instructions that were easy, looking out for their interests based on your, past history. If this was the first time we'd been seeing you and I heard about all these things that you put into place, I would think, okay, that sounds pretty good, right? But we know that's, this is a return. Whether it was a one night, a couple of years ago, it was a return to use and it was, you already know that you're not a person who can do harm reduction. You tried it, it just doesn't work for you. And so again, we want to make sure that you're going to stay good. That's my thinking about it.
How does that sound to you?
I understand.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree.
I mean, you can disagree if so choose,
Well,
but
I understand your position.
yeah, it is.
I imagine this was probably pretty hard for you to come here today,
It was.
after having had so much involvement and so much progress. I do appreciate that you very readily admitted what happened, and I just want to acknowledge you. That this was hard
It wasn't easy,
and disappointing, and
for sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion now. That we go ahead and review these LCAC on probation for indefinite probation no longer than,
less.
I'm sorry,
No,
less than, that's what I meant. No less than indefinite, no less than, I'm gonna say 1 year, given the history. And I think that we would like, you're not employed now, but you can give self-reports to the board. And if you do take a job, as a licensed professional, then an employer, send quarterly reports. So one or the other, depending on your situation. So quarterly reports on, how you're doing, if you're working, what your supervision's looking like, what type of cases you're having, there's nothing specific necessarily that. And then, if you're not looking, you can just include the things that you're doing as part of your recovery plan. Keep all of your information up to date with the board. First address, if you are seeking employment, what who that is. I think we do want to sign board order if, you do end up finding employment, as an LCAC, that you'll bring that board order, have them sign, send a copy to us, so that we know where you're on probation. So, guys.
How does this affect my LMHCA?
This would apply for both.
Anything about the recovery piece? This is such a thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, you have a therapist now, you said, right, still, so maybe we can get, updates from the therapist. Not personal updates, but just general, that you're engaged in commitment. Or, yeah, or the report from that. Your therapist. And I suppose if you end therapy, do you expect to end therapy? Is that kind of like on?
I don't want to.
Yeah, good.